But yeah, we had to ship out some coffee today. People are still buying stuff online, so it was perfect. I thought I'd just do that and then jump on this.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time. Of course, I know it's a really not so grounding time for everyone, but we're all doing what we can to get by.
Right.
I think it's refreshing, of course, to see what people are doing, but really challenging just to find the balance between everything at the same time. I'm currently jobless myself, so that's been really hard to adapt.
It's so tough. It's so tough. Like we try to stay open as long as we could, just like doing the outside seating for a while, and then we switched to online, like the delivery, like pick up and go, just to go, no like staying here and seating here. And then we had like no customers coming in, so we just thought, whatever, we'll just try and close. But we're still try and pay our employees for as long as we can throughout this. So we'll see how long that lasts.
So when did you officially close your doors, you said?
We closed on Saturday. We closed at noon, I think. We normally stay up until 4, and we closed at noon, and then closed yesterday, Sunday, today. Yeah. It's okay.
I mean, like I said, everyone's doing what they've got to do to get by. It's so sad to hear like how immediate like community's been affected with their like day-to-day of going to get a coffee or like really grab a beer at the end of the day, or even watch the sunset, like something that's
right. And we always say like, oh, we live so close to the beach, we should just go to the sun, like watch sunset more often. And now that you can't do it, you like want to go do that every night. It's like the craziest thing. But it's just weird because everyone's in the same boat.
Right. No, and that's like, it took me a minute to be like, oh, I'm the only one without a job. No, it was like, okay, everybody is literally slowly losing theirs too, or it's just, significantly slowed down to where they're not needed. And that's where it's weird to see how connected, not weird, that's not the right word, but really just to see it happen, like, the ripple effect, right? It's like, it's the first time we've actually been able to witness it happen, I guess, in our lifetime. So yeah, I don't want to continue to talk about that because there's definitely more enlightening things that people have created and are doing, and that's part of the work that I found really inspiring with the business you own, of course, or part ownership in anyways. So if you would like to simply introduce yourself as to, where you came from, how you ended up in Naples, or whatever storyline, you're most comfortable with sharing, I'd be happy to get to know you more that way, and then we can kind of continue to flow with conversation.
Okay, yeah. So I am Stephanie Bunnett, and I am the owner of Kunjani Craft Coffee and Gallery here in Naples. My mom and I started this business we opened officially in February 2016, but we came up with the idea around September 2015. And we always had wanted to go into business together. My mom had a bit of art background because when we moved here, she worked in an art gallery, an African art gallery, for a ex-Zimbabwean who were family friends with my parents. And so she went straight into the art gallery and got experience that way. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated college. I was initially going to go to medical school. So that's my background, is science and chemistry and all of that. Didn't take any business classes in school. And then I graduated and I was like, hang on, I actually really don't want to do this. And so I sort of just did a 180 and didn't know what to do. So I was back at home, graduated, sitting, at my parents' house, bored, being annoying probably to my parents. And my mom was like, can you just go and get a job and figure this out? And so I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. And so I just decided to get a job at Starbucks and got my coffee experience that way. And I learned a lot from them. Obviously, they're huge coffee giants in the world, and learned a lot of what to do, what not to do. And did that for a while, and then decided, no, like, this is not for me. I don't want to work for someone. So that's when Mum and I had the same idea. We didn't want to work for other people, and we just said, well, let's just go into business together. And since she had the gallery experience, like the retail experience, and I had the coffee experience, we thought, what a cool combination to, put into place. And we also decided that in Naples, since we had moved from Zimbabwe back there, there's a very big sense of community and people stick together, and there's places that you can go and you can, you know, feel welcome and feel at home. And we just didn't really find that here. It was very tough when we first moved here to feel welcome and to feel like we had that sense of community. And so when we decided to open Kunjani, we wanted it to have this main feeling and the main theme running through of community and a space where people could come and everyone could come and feel welcome, and to feel like, we wanted it to feel like people were coming into our house and having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with us at home. And so when we did the decor, we have so many different kinds of chairs and couches and, you know, little tables and everything. So it sort of feels like you go into one area of the shop and you're in the living room, or you go into the other area and you're in the dining room or whatever. And so it feels like you're sort of in a house, and it helps that it was an actual house. And so we wanted every customer that comes in to feel like they were our guests in our personal, you know, home. Just come in and have a cup of tea with us. And it's been amazing because so many people that have come in not knowing anyone else, just as, you know, our regular customers have seen other regular customers doing the same thing, and they've now become friends. And it's been so cool to see how many relationships have formed just from coming and having a coffee. And so we wanted that sense of community here in Naples. And we also wanted to highlight amazing things that people are doing here through the local nonprofits here in Naples. And so we decided to host a different local nonprofit every month. And so we there's no like selection process or anything. If someone has a nonprofit here in Naples and they want to be hosted, then they just have to put their name down on we have a very long waiting list, which is amazing. But yeah, you just have to wait, and then we just assign a month to each nonprofit, and they can bring a donation bin or set up flyers or hand out information or whatever it might be. So if they need money collected or goods collected or just simply trying to spread awareness, they can do that during the month. And then on top of that, we wanted to do more for people that live in Africa. Since we were so fortunate to be able to leave and quote unquote leave for a better life, a better opportunity, whereas the majority of the population actually can't do that, and they're just, you know, stuck, and, you know, that's just their situation, which is so sad and so tough for so many people. And so through all the stuff that we purchase here in the gallery, we buy everything fair trade from all our vendors, and everything's mainly handmade in either South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tanzania. And we sell all the stuff in our gallery section of Kunjani, and we buy everything outright. So it's not like anything's on commission, because I think, especially in Africa, people need money right now. It's no sense in us taking goods that people have made and say, oh, well, when we sell it, we'll pay you. Absolutely not. They need the money in the moment because they're struggling. And mainly all the stuff that we sell is made by women who are the sole providers for their whole family, which is crazy. They usually have on average about 10 dependents per one woman bringing in money, which is so crazy. So we wanted to help that way through buying stuff to sell in the gallery. And then we wanted to go a step further by having our own nonprofit that we set up, and that's the Kunjani Project. And we have been raising money. We've put in 2 different water pumps in Africa, one in Kenya and one in Zimbabwe, which is amazing because whole communities are impacted that way. And, you know, just having access to clean water helps in so many ways, with obviously drinking water, ways to cook, water your crops, or, you know, clean, of course. And it just sort of has this ripple effect in communities, which is just incredible. Things that we take for granted here, like turning on a faucet and just having water that you can drink whenever you want, obviously, unless there's a hurricane. But there, it's just, people don't think about it, and, you know, it's just so taken for granted. So that's what we did with the nonprofit.
I was genuinely curious about the Kunjani Project. So that kind of, you know, wasn't envisioned when you started the company. Of course, it just kind of opened up as you grew because you saw the potential for it?
Yeah, so we always wanted to do something more than just buy goods and sell them. So we always wanted to have a nonprofit per se, but the name and exactly what causes we would be supporting evolved as we had opened. But it was always something that we wanted to do from the beginning. Have sort of like a 3-prong approach: the nonprofit, the gallery, and the coffee side. We didn't anticipate the coffee shop being as busy as it is. I'll be completely honest. That sort of took us by surprise. I never thought when I opened Kunjani that we would be opening like that the big part of the business would be the coffee, and that's just been amazing. We've been super blessed with the support that we've had from, regulars and local customers, and then obviously seasonal visitors and everything, which has been great.
Sure. No, it's in a very centralized location where you do attract a bunch of different people in the area. Beyond that, was there, like, how did you decide what village or what country you were going to, I guess, provide back to a community or village? Like, was that something they had asked, or you felt, guided to provide that pump for that certain area?
So, actually, such a small world. A girl that I had originally gone to high school with here in Naples works for a company in Ohio that designs the pumps, and they're called Life Pumps. And the reason I chose them is because there's a lot of good intentions that haven't really yielded good results when it comes to putting in water pumps, and especially in Africa. The type of pumps used break really quickly, and everyone gets super excited when a pump is installed, of course, in a community, and then within 3 to 6 months the pump's broken and no one comes to fix it. It's no maintenance. Or you find instances where the leader of the community decides that they want to be in control, and so they either break the pump or they take the main operating component to the pump and they keep that for themselves. There's a lot that goes on in communities that is just hard for us to wrap our heads around because it's so foreign, for lack of a better word. And so with this company, I love the fact that I knew the person that was involved, which is a big deal because so many times people donate to causes, and especially in Africa and third world countries, and you'll never see where the money goes. You never actually know if it's gotten to the right people or not. And so the fact that I knew the girl that was working in this company was a huge deal. And the life pump that they've made is great because they firstly go in and they actually survey the land to make sure that when they dig, they're not going to hit granite and then just give up. They actually go and make sure that when they have chosen a location, that'll actually be reaching into the groundwater supply. And then on top of that, they work with the community and they train the community members to be able to fix the pump if anything goes wrong. As well as there's a way that the pump works. It's more like a circular motion, which is easier than the up and down, because the up and down motion of the standard pumps is great if you're strong and you're a man and you can work it, but for kids and women and elderly, it's very difficult to actually use that pump. And so the live pump has a circular motion, and that makes it a lot easier. So that was one of the reasons I was drawn to them. And on top of that, they are a Christian organization, which I just thought was amazing, and I loved that, and that sort of aligned with our values as well. And so she actually contacted me just because I think her parents had been in Kunjani or something and found out what I was doing. And so we actually got back in touch after not, being in contact since high school. And she told me what they were doing, and they had an available pump around the time I had raised enough money, and it just happened to be in Kenya. And then after that, she said that they were moving to work with the Zimbabwean government and put pumps in Zimbabwe. And I was like, well, absolutely. That's where I'm from. That's where I love to put a pump. And so that's how we, sort of chose the 2 locations.
Wow. That's pretty magical, huh?
Pretty cool.
So there's plans to put a 3rd pump in, I assume, in the near future?
Yeah, so we're just sort of at this point, we would love to put in more pumps, but we also, there's so many causes out there, and one of them that I'm really interested in is education for girls. And so I am working now. I think the next project would be for the education for girls in Zambia, because there's a lot of girls that are extremely, talented and bright and just ambitious, and they would love to go to school and they would love to continue their education, because in a lot of African cultures, it's not common for women to get educated. They're expected to get married and have babies and take care of the village. And there's a lot of resources and attention focused on the male population there to go to school, especially after high school. And so we would love to be able to raise enough money to pay for girls to go to college, or just, a second, like an extra education. And so that's what I would love to focus on next. It's just a bit tough, because how do you choose in a whole class of girls who to send? Or then you can't just give the money to the individual, because sometimes the family has a lot more dire needs than sending their daughter to college, buy food or provide shelter or whatever. So we would be working with the universities directly and just pay the whole tuition for that individual. So that's the next big project. I would love to find a graduating class of girls and just have enough money to say, okay, here's enough for, all 10 or whatever, because the class sizes aren't that big. It would be about 10 girls, and say, okay, here's all the money to the university. It's paid for. Go and get an education, which would just be amazing for me.
Yeah, no, that is
so that's the next.
Again, something to take for granted here in the States, just having the capability to jump online and learn a tool or a skill set. It's accessible, just as easy as our water. But again, just resources we really do take for granted. And it's, again, incredible to see what someone of influence and really, I hate to use the word privilege, but it is a privilege of ours to be, of course, provided with what we have, and to be able to help another is really what I feel is the purpose of, being a grounded individual and being able to help the next level of people who do need that help.
No, absolutely.
So you could share maybe how and what the word Kunjani means. I understand that it does have a little bit of a meaning.
Yeah, so Kunjani directly translates to how is it? And back home, we don't really use the greeting, what's up? We would just use how's it? So how is it? We just say how's it? Which means Kunjani. So it's more of like a very relaxed greeting, like what's up? Or it's more like how's it going? Is what it translates to. So it's just very loosely described as a greeting.
So that would be like a Zimbabwean
term? We used it in Zimbabwe, but it also is used in South Africa. It's a Zulu and Xhosa word.
Very cool. So do you speak that language, or?
No, I used to speak the language of Zimbabwe, which is Shona, and I was raised speaking both English and Shona. Obviously, English is my main language, but my parents wanted me to learn the local language as well. So I grew up speaking both. I don't really remember anything now because I have been out of practice, but I'm sure if I was speaking a bit of it, I would come back a little bit.
That's pretty cool. So when did you first move to the States, and was it Florida that you moved to first?
Yeah, so we moved in August of 2007, and we came directly to Naples. My parents have been divorced for I don't know, over 25 years now, I think. And my dad had actually moved here in 2000 and sort of laid a foundation here in Naples. He actually worked in the same art gallery that my mom ended up working in, years and years later. He didn't work there at the time, but there was the same family friend that sort of gave him the opportunity to move. And so that's how we picked Naples, just because that's where my mom had gotten an offer for the job. So we moved straight to Naples in 2007.
Very cool. And you had said it sounded like your business plan was created very rapidly. So it was just something you guys had resonated on the same level and, of course, shared the same vision. Was there any challenges that you would battle?
No. So yes, we came up with the idea quite quickly. And I think it's funny. It's usually how it happens in my family. We come up with an idea, we don't waste time, and we just want to make it happen. And we actually end up just making it happen, which is just pretty cool. There's not really any time that we sit around just umming and ahhing. We just do it. And so, yeah, it happened really fast. We initially wanted to open actually November of that year of 2015, but we were delayed by the city of Naples, just with various little code issues and building things, cabinet heights and all that fun stuff. So that delayed us for a while, which was quite tough. And of course, in the beginning, we had people coming in and saying, who do you think you are, trying to compete with Starbucks? There's a Starbucks right down the street. You're not going to make it, da, da, da. And our response always was in the beginning, we're not trying to compete with Starbucks. No one in their right mind would compete with Starbucks. So we're not the same business model as Starbucks. Of course, we have a coffee shop, but we always just wanted to explain that we're more than just a coffee shop. We are not just a quick grab and go, in and out, shout your order to the barista at the counter and just grab your coffee and get out. Absolutely not. We wanted to cultivate that community space, and to where we have a personal relationship with our customers. We, have our regulars that we know, and we know their wife, and we know their dogs, and we know their kids, and they know us, and they want to know about our lives, and they want to, know about the other customers around them. And so it was never that we were trying to compete with mega coffee giant Starbucks. We were, sort of forging our own way in the coffee world by being quite different than just a coffee shop.
I find that really entertaining. I mean, that's Naples for you in a sense, right?
Right.
People are like, taking away my corporation. No,
exactly.
Starting something new, and that's a little bit more refreshing, that does invite community members. And I will support Starbucks. I choose not to when I have the option to, of course, but nothing against them or their craft. But I do find you meet more of an authentic type of individual in that space where you're going to get a craft coffee, no matter what that is. Kunjani, a local, mom and pop, they exist, but it's a different experience to the tea. And I really appreciate that you guys did take that, of course, leap of faith in starting that, because in this area there is not many shops that are doing that. And I think that's why it's worked so well for y'all, because you've allowed that artist type, that entrepreneur, the outside of the box individual, if for lack of better words, to come into that space where they feel more welcome. And
thank you.
Find someone to share a really organic conversation with. And it's what the world needs, of course, and it's not an easy task to take on, but I really applaud people and business owners who've done that. So
thank you so much. Sorry, I'm just trying to mute my phone because I keep getting notifications coming in so loudly. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's a ghost town in your shop, huh?
I know, it's crazy. It's so sad to see it like this, because right now we would be crazy busy. But
yeah, you'd be getting your afternoon pop just about.
Right.
So do you have any, I wouldn't say events or plans for providing the community with anything else besides, of course, the online shopping, that they're still accessible?
We're just so we're just going to be shipping out coffee if people need, and then we thought it would be fun for our employees to sort of document their days in quarantine, if they're making any drinks or tea or coffee or eating any treats or just doing cool stuff at home. Because what we found out, that our customers love us, which is amazing, because we're so grateful, and we obviously rely on our customers. And through this time, it's actually amazing. Two of our regular customers and their husbands and wives have actually started a GoFundMe for us, because they found out that we're going to be trying to pay our employees throughout this whole thing. And so they just wanted to help out however they could. So they've started a GoFundMe for us to pay our employees. And so it just showed us, it was more validation for us that our customers do love us. And so we thought it would be fun to just document what we're doing at home throughout the quarantine. So I've had a bunch of my employees making French press coffees and making iced coffees and tea at home. And so we're just going to be trying to make things more positive and lighthearted on social media. So just by sharing stuff like that. And then we have like tumblers and little things that we sell at Kunjani anyway. And we'll be probably putting those up online for sale for people to buy. But other than that, no, just waiting for this to be over and so that we can open back up and see all our people again.
It's amazing. So your motto is lifting each other up with love. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So yeah, it is not the easiest thing to do during these times, but again, using the platforms in our own powers to just continue to share that love with others is all we can do. So I find it inspiring again that you're telling your individuals to like take it outside of the coffee shop, right? Put it right back in the kitchen and share that same cup of love that you would in the shop at home. So
no, and thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on here. This is so exciting. It's so cool. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it is a lot of fun for me. And it's something I truly am passionate about, just getting others words of wisdom, advice. You know, of course, there's story of how they started a great business and how, you know, it can inspire a really change of community and in sense of place, right? So
exactly. And I don't know who said it to me or I might have read it, but it's despite everything that everyone's going through right now, and you know, there's been so much good that has come out of it with community members and, you know, family and friends. And also someone said to me that people are actually having time at home away from their, you know, their 9-to-5s and their day jobs. And this might be a time where a lot of new businesses prop up because people are actually having time at home to work on their dreams and their goals and businesses that they might have wanted to start, but they've just been so busy with a 9-to-5. And so some cool businesses might come out of this, which I think is really cool.
I definitely support that. So, well, thank you again, Stephanie. Truly am thankful for your time again during this time. So stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you very soon.
Thank you so much. You too.
Take care. Have a great day.